family mode.
Good morning, everyone. Tuesday, February 10th. Glad to be here this morning with all of you. Just today, I'm actually joined with Armando, and today I'm joined by Amalia, who's going to be with us at the webinar today. Vinish right now is in transit, and he's just been kept busy with a few number of projects, so he does send his greetings to everyone, and hopefully I should have him back in the next week. Next week's webinar. But in the meantime, we have a well-prepared webinar for everyone. Maybe a little bit short today, but short and sweet with a lot of exciting news from around the industry. Actually, I want to introduce to you Amalia. Amalia?
Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here and taking part of the new webinars. Thank you.
Excellent. So as you know, we have our existing agenda. We'll talk about the latest news and articles, a couple of interesting news items, and with all the information that's out there, sometimes it's so challenging just to filter the most relevant, and we try to be very search engine agnostic, but as much as we try, most of the news really comes back from Google, so we'll have a few updates on Google. This week we don't have a case study, but we have a sales tip of the week. I figure we go back a little bit into the sales mode. Things that you already know most likely, but sometimes, you know what, we do need remembering, and that's very important because in order to be masters of our craft, specifically as consultants, and sometimes we do have to wear the sales hat, we definitely have to keep things into perspective and keep going back to basics. And obviously we'll have an area for questions and answers. So let's get moving. The first item in the agenda today actually comes from Google, and in this case it's Google Adwords. It's an interesting update that they've made from their end. They're actually right now upgrading all of their URLs. So in the past, they actually had different ways of tracking parameters, specifically landing pages. But it's official. They actually rolled out this upgraded URL for tracking parameters, and it's really a very good tool for those individuals that are managing PPC campaigns and where you have a final destination URL, which is typically your landing page. But in some cases, if you are doing any additional tracking and you are putting tracking parameters that redirect to a third-party tracking service, you have a different URL for that. So what they've done is in this latest upgrade, they've joined both of them. So I'm just going to show you a little bit of what they've done. It may be relevant to those ICs and team members who actually are doing some of their AdWords management, or if you have one of those clients that's always asking you questions about AdWords and paid search, and maybe they have some questions in regards to landing pages and how to properly track them. I'm going to share with you a little bit about this. So this is actually something that was published in the Supports Google forum, and now with the new upgrade, what was happening before is that they would ask you for a final landing page, right? And that landing page was actually could be used for a third-party URL if you were using the different tracking services or the final URL. But now they made it very easy for you when you log into your Google AdWords account, for example, and you're looking at a destination URL for your ads. Obviously, you have your headline, your description, line 1, description line 2, your display URL. So this is the URL that you would like to display. But then it gives you two options. It gives you, do you want this, what is your final URL and what is your destination URL? So the final URL now becomes the URL that you want to send your tracking information, and then the destination URL becomes the final URL that you want to submit or send the activities for your clients. So Google is very specific on their support forum website blog, where how to properly set up these final URLs, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. So very, very, very straightforward. If you're looking at tracking, for example, and you have a whole code for tracking purposes, right? You want to track a specific, or you want to redirect them to a specific website. This is how it's going to be showing. And then obviously they have some that they don't not acceptable final URL, so they go through a whole list of it. And the change if you don't have any final final URLs, don't worry, it's not gonna make any difference for you. This is only for tracking purposes. If those ICs that are running specific AdWords campaigns with tracking management software or tracking management code, then you may have to apply this. So I'm gonna actually post this into for everyone into the chat box. So if you want to have a look at it, it's very easy to use now. I mean, one of the things that Google is doing is, well, first of all, they recommend that you can start manually upgrading your existing destination URLs, but by the end of the year, probably, they will want you to do all this migration, so that way you don't have to remove or lose any information that you have it. But it's really good news because, like I said, it just makes it easier to track your final URLs versus your destination URL. Okay, so again, I just posted the link on the chat box so everybody can have a look at it. If you have any questions, again, feel free to let us know. At ALM, we are managing paid search or PPC campaigns, so no worries. We're kind of taking care of this internally. But if you have any questions, by all means, feel free to send us an email at info@WSILM or myself or Amalia, and we would check on your campaigns for you. But just wanted to share this piece of information with everyone. Okay, so just going back to the presentation. The next piece of information actually is going to come from Amalia, and I'll hand over to Amalia.
Thank you, Armando. I, in fact, came across a very interesting article I want to share with everyone, which Google is currently strongly encouraging marketers to go mobile friendly. In fact, Google has indicated that if your website is not mobile friendly, you may, in fact, lose business or rank very low, lower in the mobile Google search results. Recently, Google has sent warnings to a number of webmasters whose sites are not mobile friendly. The notifications contained a listing of how many pages of the site might have critical mobile usability errors. Inclusive to this, the warning indicated that those pages would be displayed and ranked lower for smart user phones, and also will not be seen as a mobile friendly by Google search. These updates are sent with hopes to help brands make sure that their marketing strategy is going in the right direction. They're actually stressing this because mobile is becoming more important and that brands have to adapt to the marketplace. The recent warnings are a sign that Google continues to update its mobile algorithm to favor mobile optimized sites in its search results. So it's highly recommended that if you're not yet mobile friendly, you need to think about a strategy, whether it's responsive design, template-based, or device-based. Again, if you're interested in taking a look at the article, we provided a link at the bottom of the page here.
Yeah.
Back to you, Armando.
Yeah, thanks, Amalia. And in this case, I mean, I know that we've been preaching about it for the past probably 2 months, and it's very important that if you have any clients that are still on a desktop-based website and they haven't moved to a responsive website, that you begin to really, specifically if you're doing a very high-level SEO campaign, a very in-depth SEO campaign for them, that you do begin to bring this into consideration for your strategy in 2015. Many ICs and many SEO experts, and including ourselves, we do believe that 2015 is the year of responsive. So definitely try to make a push with your existing clients that do not have a responsive website. Google has not come out yet to say, okay, we're going to update our algorithm based on the mobile friendly, but you know what? It's in the air. I mean, the warnings are pretty much there. So again, just for precaution and actually to better service your existing clients, remind them to really take a look at their website and to let's try to either convert them to responsive, or there's also an option for upgrading your clients or upselling them into a new responsive web design. And the other thing that I would recommend, I know many ICs are doing this very successfully, is that they're not, if they're doing a new website design and they're putting out a proposal, it's mandatory that it's responsive. So again, I know you've heard it from us, but and probably been reading a lot about that, but in reality, I'm pretty sure there's an algorithm coming very soon. And speaking of algorithms, moving on to the next item on the agenda. Google confirmed that they are making tweaks to their search results, but there hasn't been an update announced. So what happened was that the last, I think it was probably 2 to 3 weeks, the SEO community, experts and also individuals that enjoy SEO for the sake of it, they've started noticing large fluctuations and changes in the Google search results, so rankings, traffic, etc. As a matter of fact, even automatic tracking tools such as Mozcast, which is part of the Moz community group, they also suggested there had been some changes in the search results and fluctuations, and they kind of attributed it to probably even a new major Google algorithm. So the industry is kind of preparing for a new update to be announced. However, Google has confirmed right now that if you are seeing anything as unusual, it's just that Google has continued to be making changes to their search engine and the way the algorithms are working. However, there hasn't been any related updates such as Google Panda or Penguin updates. So, however, again, just another sign that something's around the corner. It just keeps us a little bit on the edge of our seats, just waiting for what Google decides to do. But I just wanted to share that with you. If you are seeing any fluctuations in the traffic of your websites, let's say for the month of January and perhaps even early February, as well as perhaps even rankings, don't be alarmed. Do keep a look at it. Keep an eye on it, and if you're working with a supplier, notify your supplier if you're finding these things, so we can kind of review. But as of now, it's really not down to a major update. It's just down to Google making some tweaks, quote unquote, making some tweaks. Anyhow, we'll have more on this in the next few weeks as things progress. But again, there's a sense that there will be a major update in the coming weeks from Google. Okay, excellent. Let's move on to the next piece of news. If you just give me a quick second here. Excellent. There was actually an article on Search Engine Land in regards to click-to-call advertising in 2014. Okay, and basically, I know that many ICs have tinkered a little bit with click-to-call, and they've been asking us the effectiveness of the click-to-call advertising, and some ICs have actually gone beyond to even looking at different tracking technologies to see the effectiveness of click-to-call advertising. And this is a very interesting report that I'm actually going to share with you a little bit about it, if you just give me a quick second. Basically, in 2014, there was $4 billion spent on click-to-call advertising. So that's a lot of money, right? That's how much marketers spent in 2014. Now, this is according to actually a call analytics platform called Marchex. It's still, I mean, you can check them out. They're based on what the report says. We have to take it a bit of with a grain of salt. There's some things that they're still working out with their technologies. However, they do provide a baseline information for us in regards to where click-to-call is going. Now, the main driver for this $4 billion in revenue was actually Google, and secondary was Bing. So as you can see in the screen, in January 2011, it was, the million of calls per month were pretty much probably at 5 millions per calls using click-to-call, and it has developed over the last 3 or 4 years. You can see that the growth, and as of January 2015, it's now estimated at approximately 75 million calls per month from Google call extensions. Now we're talking about just Google, so this is something that's growing. Now, one of the questions that we always get is how effective is click-to-call, because sometimes you don't have necessarily the analytics to identify its effectiveness, and obviously Google doesn't give us all of the answers, right, in regards to the quality. Now you can definitely record calls. You can definitely put different parameters to kind of quantify, or qualify the call. So for example, if someone spends 30 seconds or 45 seconds on a call, that means that it's a qualified call. However, this report kind of sheds a little bit of light, something to ponder, something to think about. We don't want to negate the fact that click-to-call advertising is growing. However, it's something that you may want to review before you proceed to do a click-to-call campaign on whether it be Google or Bing. One of the interesting findings about this is that when you have an advertising right now, the way it works is that you have your destination URL, like, all right, or your call to action to a landing page that goes here, and then when you have your click to call ads activated, you have the little telephone icon on the ads. Now this is mainly for telephone, right? Usually for mobile devices, right? And what they found out is that 40% calls come from the landing pages, so it's really a bit of a two-step, which also somewhat qualifies your lead a little bit better, because from the ad that is shown on their mobile, and you can, mostly on their mobile, they click on the ad, they go to your landing page, they read your landing page, and from your landing page, it goes to a call. Right? So 40% of calls come from landing pages. To me, this is a little bit more qualified because of the fact that they've read your information on your landing page before calling. Right? The other one, though, is interesting fact is that 60% pretty much right away call. Right? Now, that's a good sign and also not a good sign. It's a good sign because if the person is really in need of your help, if you're a plumber, an electrician, a basement, repair wet basement, etc., or a service that needs immediate assistance, right away you're giving your customer or your target audience the ease of contacting with you right away. So 60% are coming from extensions. However, in this report by MarchX, again, it's early data, okay, but it's interesting to understand that the early data that they have today, because when you look at it, in reality, 30% of those calls were actually customer service calls. So they're not really a lead generation tool. Based on this report, they're saying that 30% are customer service, 36% are short calls, and in reality, they don't turn into any leads. Right, they're just short telephone conversations. 15% are repeat phone calls, and only 19% are new customer inquiries. So again, something to really think about when you're implementing a click-to-call strategy in your paid search campaign. What I would recommend, and what we would recommend, is probably running a 45 to 60-day campaign. Test campaign to see how it's working for your clients, and really committing your clients to sharing some of that data and streamlining that information to you, so that way you can make a better decision on where to proceed with the click-to-call campaign. But again, these are interesting numbers where you're looking at that only 19% of the calls are actually, let's say, new calls, or let's say quality lead calls. However, if you're a service-based business, it's not a bad idea to have the click-to-call, because you are providing your clients with that quick-to-ease customer service. It does come at a cost per click, but again, it does provide you with some data. So only 19% of them are becoming actual leads or real qualified leads. Where let's say 81% or 80% of them are not qualified, or they don't really have a purchase intent on them. So again, interesting data that this report has shown, but most likely what I would recommend is that you test it with your client, because this graph in itself tells us that there is a high increase of usage from click to calls. So have a look at this specific report, and if you have any questions, do let us know. Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm just getting a question. Yeah, I'll get to the questions at the end, but definitely just keep asking your questions as you have them. Definitely we'll get to you at the end. Okay. The next The next interesting report that came out actually was speaking with one of the ICs last week, and they talked about tweets to appear in Google searches. Now, again, Twitter has come back and struck a deal with Google, giving Google the opportunity to really have access to the stream of data generated by user tweets. So right now, if you know that tweets are not really being indexed or they're not being displayed on Google search results, right? However, Twitter has made this decision to start working with Google again and providing them with data. Some experts and some SEO specialists or industry analysts are saying that probably within the next 3 months, tweets will be automatically visible in searches as soon as they're posted. This is something that's still to be seen. I personally think that there has to be a strategy behind it, because imagine the millions of tweets that are going to get indexed. It'll be interesting to see how that looks like. However, one of the things that we may be able to see somehow maybe syndicated promoted tweets, right? Which are a little bit different. That's basically paid advertising, right? And now I'm not saying that Google's going to allow Twitter to advertise on the Google search engine, but it's very interesting that they are allowing at this stage access. Twitter's allowing Google access to the stream of data, and if they were to do any type of indexing or actually having the post being displayed on Google, that'll be really interesting. And it does give us an opportunity as marketeers to prepare for it. So if our clients don't have a Twitter strategy, perhaps start planting the seed that maybe in Q2 or end of Q2 you deploy a Twitter strategy in the hopes of obviously doing some social media optimization and having those tweets being posted on Google, if indeed Google decides to make those tweets appear in Google searches. Okay. Now, having said that, I talked a little bit about the syndicated promoted tweets. These are actually paid tweets to third-party sites. It's already happening with Yahoo in Japan, and also Flipboard. And it's something that Twitter is also doing as a company to start monetizing on some of the paid advertising. So if you are in these platforms, you can actually get paid advertising. Everywhere else outside, they're not doing that, but with Yahoo and Flipboard, they're doing that. So anyways, I wanted to share that with you just in case, some of your clients are really, Twitter sometimes is probably your top 4, maybe I would say probably top 3, top 4 social media property. But with this new deal that they struck with Google, it may bring them back into the table in regards to importance and taking a look at a strategy for your clients in probably, I would say, mid Q2, end of Q2, review this, because it may bring some opportunities to get more exposure as well as to get more traffic. Okay. The next piece of okay. Okay, the next piece of information comes from Yahoo, and as we know, Gemini is Yahoo Gemini is actually Yahoo's platform that serves search ads on Yahoo.com, and a lot has been said about the Firefox partnership, and also Yahoo and Bing partnerships in regards to the way these companies are really trying to take a little bit of Google's thunder and the main thing is to try to take some of their market share when it comes to searches, right? So a lot of people have been looking at Yahoo and this Bing partnership as something to really see if there's value to advertising or to optimizing in these two search engines. So Yahoo Gemini, basically being their platform for serving ads on Yahoo.com, really focusing on tablets and smartphones, has now definitely seen an increase in traffic, right? And specifically mobile traffic, because that's what Gemini focuses on, mainly mobile advertising. And as you can see in this graph, last May 2014, they started very, very low in terms of percentage of their traffic on both Bing and Yahoo, because actually Gemini is also showing some of their ads on Bing. On the Yahoo Bing network partner sites, and all of a sudden in a span of less than a year, they really kind of ratcheted up in regards to the increase in mobile traffic. However, there's a big however. This traffic is pretty much only playing along Yahoo overall traffic and Bing traffic. It's not really making any headways or stealing away traffic from Google. Pretty much what's happening right now is that Yahoo Gemini is in reality taking away some of the shared traffic from Bing. So these two companies, although they've partnered, they're kind of taking away mobile traffic from each other. In this case, Yahoo is doing that, which I'm pretty sure there's a strategy behind it. As you know, Yahoo's CEO, she's been very aggressive in trying to put importance on Yahoo search marketing and specifically mobile search marketing. So it's one of those things that, again, if you do have a client that's thinking about paid search in Yahoo, to really look at the Yahoo Gemini platform and seeing how you can best optimize that. Okay. For another piece of advice here is that there isn't really any difference in the average sales per click in regards to conversion rates, and the average sales per click are very similar when you compare Gemini mobile ads versus Bing mobile ads. Okay, so interesting also piece of information there. Okay, and the next piece that I wanted to share with you today is a little bit about the 4 easy ideas on how to definitely, if you're stuck for an idea on content writing, or you don't have an idea to give to your production team or your content writer, here are 4 simple tips that will definitely help. Or whether you implement them or you get your coordinator to do this, definitely this is something that I wanted to share with you. I found it very interesting because a lot of the times when we're working with clients, it's like pulling teeth. The client doesn't have any ideas on blog topics, and typically we're always preaching the fact that you should have a marketing calendar, at least a 3-month to 6-month calendar. It's always hard to get a 12-month calendar completed by a client, but a 3-month calendar it is ideal. It's better than having anything. But sometimes, you know what, it doesn't always happen how we want it. Sometimes we're either chasing the client for topics or we have to come up with the topics ourselves. So here are 4 simple ideas when you're stuck and you're trying to come up with ideas for content writing for your clients. Let's go with these 4 ideas. Number 1, very easy to do, which is actually working with your Google Adwords keyword planner. Do a targeted keyword research just by running a simple search on a topic that you're planning to cover. You want to know what's coming up. By looking at the result pages, you're actually seeing how many hits are happening per month. So that is very valuable, because if you're, let's say, want to write on, I don't know, weddings, or you want to write on, let's say for the winter time, if you are selling snowmobiles or winter equipment, what are the things that people are searching today, right? You may actually be able to write something in February. I mean, obviously February is very thematic, it's Valentine's Day, but if it doesn't go with your industry or your specific topic, just by plugging into Google AdWords, just try to determine what are those popular keywords. What are those keywords that are getting the high level searches right now, and narrow down some ideas from there. So this is I thought this was a very cool idea, because sometimes it's really thinking outside the box. The other one is browse your Yelp pages. Now, most of the time people may say, well, you know what, every time I go to Yelp, all I see is bad and negative reviews or not so friendly reviews. So how's Yelp going to help me? Well, if you actually dig a little bit deeper, you can actually see and start feeling some of the pains and issues that the customers are going through. And you don't necessarily have to look at your client's Yelp. What if you were to look at your competitor, your client's competition? What are their Yelp pages are talking about? If you start kind of reading and spending a little bit of time reading some of the reviews, you'll start kind of noticing a pattern of topics and issues that they're complaining about or they're asking for more help about. So by looking at Yelp pages and whether it be your clients or their competition, you can actually get some ideas as well there. So I thought that was also a very interesting source to come up with ideas for content. The other one is number 3 is dive down to the comment section of your blog. It's something that doesn't always happen, but it's also a great source of ideas, specifically if you do let people share and comment on your clients' blogs. I know sometimes you kind of you don't do that because you don't want people spamming, but if you have spamming your blog or writing negative content. However, if you have your blogs properly set up with the proper filters, and as a moderator, you can pretty much take the time to remove any trash or any junk related or spammy related posts, you will notice that you do begin to really have a one-on-one conversation with your target audience, and people start writing about the specific topics. And if you start drilling through those comments, you may come up with some great ideas on a specific issue or a need that arises from their feedback. So again, using customer feedback to come up with a specific idea. Perhaps you did touch upon a specific idea on your original blog, but they wanted more clarification or there were more questions. Well, why don't you write a part 2, or a subsequent blog elaborating on some of those questions or drilling on those questions. So again, it's another way of coming up with innovative or out-of-the-box thinking for brainstorming blog topics. The number 4 is really troll the competition. If you have a little bit of spare time, maybe spend about 20 minutes. And I kind of always recommend this. Number one thing you want to do is who your competitor is and try to understand what their topic or what they're writing about. You don't necessarily have to copy 100% everything they're writing, but you can actually at least get the topic. And if you do a comparison of, let's say, 3 or 4 of your competitors, and you start seeing a trend, there you go. You have a specific trend of a topic that you may want to write for your client. So go to your competitor's website's blog. The other thing that I do recommend is, if your client, let's say, is in Philadelphia, and they're a plumbing company in Philadelphia, why don't you look at what plumbers are doing in New York or in New Jersey, or somewhere in a near geo target or location, because there may be some specific topics that you may want to write about. So it's really about researching your competition. And the other thing is social media properties. Again, kind of looking back at what customers are saying and how you can better come up with ideas through their social media properties. If you were to look at their Twitter accounts or also at their Facebook accounts or LinkedIn accounts, what are they writing? What are some of the hot topics they're writing? I know for a fact that some ICs actually, when they're writing for their own blog posts, they look at other ICs websites to get some ideas. I've had that before. So you know what? Why don't we deploy that idea also with our clients, where you're looking at their competition websites or even looking at their social media properties and seeing what people are saying, what the target audience is saying, your customers or your prospect clients, and basically applying it. So these are. I know that content writing sometimes can be a bit of a pain in the butt coming up with the ideas, and ultimately, if you are an IC who's solo and you don't have a team behind you, these are some of the things that you can do for them. Okay. Or another, maybe some of these are the things that you can actually recommend your client do if you want to delegate that to them. But I don't know, I would actually probably prefer to do it myself as the expert rather than delegating it. But it's an idea. Okay. Excellent. And moving along, just a quick second here. Okay, so this week I wanted to change things up, and we're doing pretty good in time today. And I wanted to actually share some action tips to improve close rates. And this is actually coming from one of the top sales gurus, Zig Ziglar, famous author of bestseller Secrets of Closing the Sale. And I was reading this article on one of the online selling magazines, and I actually thought this would be great to share with everyone. Sometimes we travel very fast. We're pretty much working very fast. Everything seems to be fast, and sometimes we don't take the time to train or master our craft, or even going back to basics, and that can be the difference between you closing or losing a deal. So these are four key action tips that you should keep in mind. At least try to keep in mind. We'll take away one or two of these this week and start implementing it. If you are that type of individual that forget things like me, I would actually challenge you to write these tips down and put them in your office, so you are clearly seeing them before you go into the next client call or prospect call, and make sure you can use these. Tip number one is actually very important. Anticipate how you will help the customer envision buying from you. One of the recommendations from Zig Ziglar is to really paint bright pictures of the pleasures of ownership. So, for example, you're visiting the client and you explain to him the new adaptive SEO solution, and the whole point of it is that you want to add value, you want to show results. So by painting a bright picture, for example, tell them, well, you know what, my goal is to work with you, and wouldn't it be nice if you can just picture this, that after in the next 6 months I come back to you and we do a report and you realize that you've increased your lead production to 20%. Wouldn't that be something that you would be happy about, right? That's something that you can kind of share with them, where you're kind of painting the picture of him, of your client, pretty much having ownership of the service, right? Or alternatively, you can share a success story, right? And storytelling is very important in sales, and it's really a craft in the way you actually position the success stories by sharing testimonials, success stories, really kind of helping your client anticipate, and you're hitting him a little bit on the emotional side, but also you want to touch some of the logical side, because you want to let them know that investment it's an ROI. It will become an ROI in the next 6 months to the 12 months, where you come back to them and you can see them that they're always busy, they have leads, they have sales, and that's what a client wants to hear. So number one, be able in your presentation, as you're going through the closing or the pre-closing techniques of your presentation, that you're painting bright pictures of the pleasures of actually, taking part on digital marketing. Okay. Number two, plan to mirror your buyer's style. If you are in a situation where it's one-on-one, yourself and on the other side of the table, the business owner, you want to be able to coordinate your speech and mannerisms with those of your prospects. So if they're a high energy, passionate individual, you kind of want to match them at that level. If they are a very soft-spoken, very mellow, you also want to be able to match them. So it's really mirror and match, and this is very important in sales. Anybody that has done sales really understands that this is very key in being able to communicate with your prospects effectively, right? You want to be able to deliver the message according to the way they're processing the information. You don't want to be in a situation where you're over enthusiastic while they're really very very mellow. That's how they are. You want to be able to match them at their level and be able to kind of guide them. Okay, that's number one. So the other thing is not only just coordinating your speech, but guiding them through that process, being able to mirror them too. Because if you have a dominant business owner on the other side that wants to take control of the meeting, you also want to set yourself also in a position as an expert consultant, where you're taking leadership of this conversation, because A, you're the expert, and B, you want to be able to guide them to where you want them to guide. You have to do this in a professional perspective. You don't want to be clashing with the prospect, but you want to show that leadership as well. So sometimes it's also good to be dominant in certain situations and take the power away from the prospect, but again, in a very professional manner, right? Some business owners, they want it straight, so you got to give it to them straight. If you're kind of working around them and you're trying to present something and not getting to the point, they get annoyed. So you got to give it to them straight, and that's very key. Whereas there are some prospects that they want more details, and they'll really be asking you a lot of questions, and you want to be able to, again, coordinate your speech and mannerism to those of your prospect. Now, what about in a situation where you are presenting to a group? Let's say last week I actually had the opportunity to attend a client meeting with an IC. We were actually doing a presentation on digital marketing blueprint and pretty much a whole digital marketing strategy for them. They're a national company across Canada, and in that presentation was the stakeholder, which was the client. He's a VP of marketing, and he had his assistant as well as the head of IT. Now, I don't know why the head of IT was at a marketing meeting, but I guess, the VP of marketing felt very comfortable bringing him to that meeting. And so we were presenting to a group. In this case, you want to be able to remain flexible, right? When you're presenting to different people, understand their different, as you go into that meeting, be able to immediately capture and analyze what type of personalities you're going to be working with during that meeting, or you're going to be communicating during that meeting. And the number one thing is that you want to match the dominant style of the decision maker, number one. Okay, you want to be able to not overpower him, but be able to talk to him one-on-one, while at the same time acknowledging the other people in the room, right? Because you don't want to be in a situation where you're throwing a curveball and by a person that's participating in that meeting, and you don't know how to deal with it because you're only addressing your presentation from a dominant perspective. So that was the case last week, where we were speaking with the VP of marketing, and he had some questions, and we were kind of going through the right path, and all of a sudden the IT director comes up with a bit of a curveball out of the blue, where he's asking them some questions that we had addressed probably in the first 15 minutes of the presentation, but he was very keen on learning more details about what type of a content marketing strategy we could deliver for them. He wasn't too interested in the advertising side of things or the promotion side. He was more interested in the quality of content that we could produce, given the fact that we're not in their industry. Right, and he just kept drilling and drilling and drilling on that question. So the IC was very astute and very quick to her feet, and was able to address the questions by kind of now breaking everything down to the level of the IT director of IT, who's also an architect, so he's very left brain, and very simple answers which were logical, sequential, and addressing the needs. So remain very flexible in a position like that. If the IC would have came very dominant at the IT, the dominant, matching the dominant personality of the VP of marketing, then the IT wouldn't have get that buy-in or the thumbs up from the director of IT. And at the end of the explanation, the IC asked him, "Does that answer your question? Is that something that you'll be happy with?" So always ask questions at the end to make sure that your audience is getting the message that you want to get, because you don't want to confuse them. So plan to mirror your buyer style. Very, very important. If you're in a group, you want to match the dominant style of the decision maker, because you are the consultant, you are the expert, but at the same time, you want to also acknowledge people in the room. Number 3, this is very, very key. I don't know how many times I get these calls every week from the ICs that I work with, but it's drill yourself on what you're going to say in the meeting. Preparation is very key. Preparation is superior. So if you are that IC that, after doing 50 IBAs or doing 50 presentations, you think you know everything and you want to improvise a presentation, go right ahead. The probabilities of you winning that deal go are much lower if you actually if you don't prepare or you improvise rather than actually prepare for it. So don't just grab your PBT the night before. Do your research, but put the proper presentation together, but also practice it, right? And you want to be able to have a mental roadmap when you're preparing, when you're sharing this presentation, when you're facilitating or presenting this presentation. You don't want to be, if your presentation is today, you don't want to be calling your production center at 9 a.m. asking for a quote or asking for an explanation if your meeting is at 10 a.m. Okay, you want to be very well prepared, and I can tell you that this is one of the areas that that I see many ICs failing. I'm not saying they fail at the sale, but in failing as a professional salesperson in the lack of preparation. So you want to have a planned presentation. You want to be able to pretty much understand what element of every slide you will be presenting and how you want to present it, how you're going to how much time you're going to allocate, and even what type of questions you may be getting. So it's really, with the plan, you have a better mental road to travel, and you'll be able to guide your prospect through that. So please practice and prepare yourself before a meeting. I know sometimes, we're running very fast on our daily lives, and sometimes we tend to leave those presentations at the end of the day till the last minute, but it's not helpful. It's not helpful for yourself or your prospect. So this is one thing that I would recommend, is to definitely understand your craft, understand your presentations. If you have templates, be able to have a reason why you're going to show these slides, etc., because you want to be able to present properly. Number 4. This is more on a closing side. Very important. Do not attempt to close until after you have established value in the mindset of the prospect. Okay. In today's competitive world of digital marketing, your client is getting bombarded by everyone, and you know what? A smart client will buy a service based on value rather than pricing. Okay, so your job, if I've mentioned this in previous webinars, sometimes what you want to do is actually select your clients. You're in a position, if you have a good base foundation of clients, you want to be in a position where you're bringing on a new client that's going to be your partner, rather than bringing on a client that's going to be a headache, a pain in the butt. So in this case, this is also a qualifier. If you notice that your prospect is really sold on the value that you're going to bring, that's a good prospect to bring to your team. That's a good prospect to work with, a good client to work with. So, however, sometimes, because we're under stress or under pressure to make a sale, we may try to make a sale based on the pricing, or based on the actual service, the features and benefits. And in doing so, we kind of eliminate ourselves, the personality, the consultancy component, where you want to always show added value. Because if you compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges, that's what the prospect is going to most likely compare to. At the end of the day, what makes a difference will be the value that you can bring them. And how does he know that value? Well, through your IBA, you've shared that value with them. Through your references, perhaps your references have spoken about the added value that you bring as a consultant. Through your final presentation, you've laid out the added value that you can provide to them. So really focus on that rather than just focusing on features and the benefits. Right? Because those things, he will even forget them after the meeting. He's really going to focus on what you can bring to the table as added value. So make sure that before you start, to close that you understand that, or that your client understands that established value. Now, there are quite a number of questions that you can pose to your client to try to see if they pretty much understand what you're bringing because you don't want to be in a situation where you're just closing and closing and closing based on a high pressure tactic, right? As a matter of fact, one of my mentors in the past always taught me, you know what, it's kind of like a opening and closing the question. So it's like the whole pull and push a tactic where you're getting them excited, but then you take it away. And then you want to make them a little bit fight for your partnership as well. So the way you can do that is by focusing more on value rather than the features and benefits. So anyhow, I thought I'd share this 4 tips with you. These are tips that are pretty much very general out there. However, sometimes we forget about that, and when we're in a pressure situation with a client, if we're not prepared, if we don't match if we don't mirror the buyer style, if we don't do any storytelling that's very beneficial to the sales meeting. I mean, these are things that you could be adding to your presentation to make it much better and more effective. So again, just wanted to share that with you. We're gonna get down to some questions in a second. A little bit more about ALM. All of you know about us. Some of our clients. This list just keeps growing, and we thank that it's pretty much down to the ICs that we're working with that are kind of going after some new clients and pretty corporate level clients as well. Again, a look at our service offerings. Again, I will touch base on inbound marketing. If you are interested in learning more about what we can do for your potential prospects on inbound marketing, just give us a call or send us an email at armando@wsilm.com or info@wsilm.com or amalia@wsilm.com. So just need a second here to try to get some questions. I'm going to put you on hold. Yeah, we don't have many questions today. I think I did see one. It had to do with responsive, so just give me a quick second here. Huh. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for being at the webinar today. Thank you. It's just a lot. Well, we got a lot of thank you. So, one of the things that I wanted to here we have a question from Mark. Just give me a second here. It's in regards to the questions in regards to responsive design, responsive. Interesting, but the question's not coming up. Here we go. There we go. Okay. Here's the number one question. My client doesn't have a responsive site but has a separate mobile site. Does that satisfy Google? Yes, a very good question. Right now, the way if your mobile site is optimized, Mark, then definitely you want to be able to make sure that if you're using a third-party mobile software, for example, Duda or differently, you want to make sure that you have the right you're optimizing it properly, optimizing the different mobile pages, putting the right tracking codes, as well as also putting the sitemap.txt file or the typical things that you do on the desktop, right? So does that satisfy Google? At this stage, I'm thinking that the only challenge with that is that, for example, if your mobile site is only 5 or 6 pages versus your desktop could be 30 or 40 pages, then that may be a bit of a hindrance to the optimization of your client's mobile site because you only have 5 pages or 6 pages to optimize, whereas desktop you have more. So I would actually lean more towards the responsive web design, just because the responsive web design really captures everything that you have on your desktop and puts it in the eyes of the user on a mobile platform versus a mobile website. The problem with that is that you're only limited to the number of pages. At this case right now, if your mobile website is set up properly, it should satisfy Google. Okay. However, long term, as Google starts now focusing on algorithms to for specifically for mobile search results, you want to make sure that you have more mobile page driven content as well. Okay. Number two is what's the difference between value and the benefits? Great question, Daniel. The added value that you're going to bring the client is really goes beyond the deliverables that you're going to present to them, right? Whereas the benefits really focus on its product or service driven, right? So as for example, SEO, what are the benefits of SEO? What's the benefit of a 10 keyword package versus a 15 keyword package, for example? What are the benefits of doing a paid search campaign on Google, or the benefits of remarketing? Benefits focus more on the product or the feature or the service that you're providing, whereas added value goes beyond that. It focuses more on the relationship, on your expertise that you're offering and that you're bringing, on the results that you can potentially bring to the client. So it goes beyond just the benefits that a specific service can bring, whereas value is really they're buying you, your services, your company. Okay. I hope that answers your question. Apart from that, yeah, we don't have any other questions. Well, thank you very much, everyone. I am getting, thank you, Daniel, getting a lot of thanks. So again, have yourself a great week. Next week, we'll have another exciting webinar. There's a lot to cover. So unfortunately, sometimes we don't have the time to bring 12 pieces of news, but we're trying to handpick. If you have any suggestions or recommendations, feel free to email Amalia and myself, and we look forward to bringing you more exciting news next week. And we'll have a great, exciting case study next week as well. Amalia?
Thank you, everyone, and I look forward to next week.
Take care, everyone. Have yourself a great week.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.